When the long season of illness slowly loosened its grip, the world did not rush forward. It paused. Villages felt wider. Streets felt quieter. The air seemed to rest between each breath. Fields waited under pale skies, holding the memory of many footsteps now gone. Those who remained moved gently through familiar places, learning their shape again. Bells rang more softly. Voices stayed low. Life returned not with noise, but with a careful calm, like dawn touching stone walls after a heavy night. Over time, hands found new work. Land rested, then opened again to seeds. Homes were repaired with patient care. People shared meals with longer silences, listening to the crackle of fire and the wind outside. Old rules bent a little, making room for new rhythms. Wages felt fairer. Choices felt wider. Yet everything moved slowly. Trust grew like moss on shaded ground. Days followed nights without hurry, and the world learned how to breathe in a quieter way. As years passed, memory softened. The past became a distant echo, no longer sharp. Children were born into calmer mornings. Paths were walked again and again, smoothing the earth. The moon continued its steady rise, unchanged and watchful. Life flowed onward, not loud, not proud, just steady and warm. In the hush of evening, the world felt held together by gentle moments, drifting onward, slower and slower, until even time itself seemed to rest in peaceful stillness. As the world settled further into its renewed shape, days became softer around the edges. Markets opened with unhurried steps. Wooden stalls stood in quiet rows, waiting without impatience. People spoke less but listened more. Time felt generous. Shadows moved slowly across stone floors and open fields. Even the seasons seemed to turn with extra care, as if they too remembered the long silence and wished to move gently now. Knowledge began to pass from hand to hand like a warm cup at dusk. Skills were shared in small rooms and open yards. Stories were told without drama, only memory and breath. Faith took calmer forms, lived in simple acts and steady kindness. Art appeared in humble places, carved softly into wood or drawn in careful lines. Nothing demanded attention. Everything invited rest. Life learned to be smaller, and in being smaller, it became kinder. In the evenings, lamps glowed like quiet stars behind windows. Smoke rose slowly into cooling air. Footsteps faded early from the roads. The world felt wrapped in patience. Each moment leaned into the next without force. Hearts beat without hurry. The future no longer pressed forward, but waited gently, like a familiar path under moonlight. And in that calm unfolding, the night grew deeper, the thoughts grew lighter, and everything drifted on, slow and steady, resting within the soft, endless quiet. As generations slowly changed, the world carried its quiet lessons forward. People learned to value stillness as much as motion. Work followed the light of day and rested when shadows lengthened. Towns grew, but gently, without pressing against the land. Paths curved where they wished. Rivers were listened to. Life felt less like a race and more like a long walk taken with care, each step resting fully before the next began. Learning deepened in soft ways. Books were copied by steady hands. Thoughts were shared in murmured voices. Curiosity lived beside patience. There was time to wonder, time to pause, time to let ideas settle like dust in evening light. Communities leaned on one another quietly. Help was given without being announced. Loss was remembered, but it no longer ruled the heart. The past became a teacher, speaking slowly, never raising its voice. At night, the sky remained wide and forgiving. Stars looked down with the same calm they always had. Inside homes, breathing slowed. Fires dimmed to gentle embers. The world felt balanced between memory and hope, neither heavy, neither loud. Moments stretched soft and unbroken. Thoughts loosened their grip and drifted freely. And as the hours slipped by without notice, the world rested in its own steady rhythm, floating deeper into a calm that asked for nothing and offered only quiet peace. In the later years, calm traditions took deeper root. Mornings arrived without urgency, carried on cool air and pale light. People rose when ready, guided by birds and bells rather than strict hours. Work unfolded gently, shaped by habit and quiet care. The land gave what it could, and no more was asked. Even disagreements softened, spoken through pauses and understanding glances. Life learned to move in harmony, like a slow song remembered by heart. Communities felt closer, though words were few. Shared labor created silent bonds. A nod meant enough. A smile carried meaning. Elders sat in doorways, watching the day pass like water flowing by. Children played without rush, their laughter low and brief, fading quickly back into calm. Learning came through watching and waiting. Wisdom grew not from speed, but from still attention. Each day folded into the next with ease, leaving no sharp edges behind. As night returned, it brought comfort instead of fear. Candles flickered gently, never demanding notice. The dark felt full, not empty. Breath slowed, muscles softened. The world seemed wrapped in a steady embrace, holding every small sound with care. Thoughts wandered without effort, then drifted away. Time loosened its hold, stretching thin and quiet. And in that deepening hush, the world continued on its slow path, steady and warm, easing gently into a silence that felt endless and kind. In the fullness of passing years, calm became a familiar companion. Days no longer tried to impress the world. They simply arrived and settled in place. Doors opened to soft light. Water was drawn slowly. Meals were prepared with care and patience. The rhythm of life felt steady, like a heartbeat heard from far away. Nothing pushed forward. Nothing pulled back. Each moment rested where it belonged. Memory lived quietly beside daily life. It was not heavy, and it did not disturb the present. It moved like a shadow at sunset, gentle and long. People honored what had been lost by tending what remained. Gardens were kept neat but unforced. Roads were walked smooth by time. Conversations ended before they grew tired. Silence was welcomed, not filled. The world felt wise in its restraint, choosing calm over noise and softness over strain. When night finally settled, it did so with kindness. The sky darkened slowly, as if giving the earth time to notice. Lamps dimmed, fires sank into glowing warmth. Breathing deepened without effort. Thoughts softened and began to wander, then loosened, then faded. The hours stretched quietly, unmeasured and untroubled. Nothing needed attention. Nothing asked to be held. The world moved onward in its gentle way, wrapped in stillness, drifting through the quiet dark, slower and softer, until only peace remained, resting in the silence.